So my name's Garrett Kuwada. I've been coming to the Kroc since probably around 2020. I was always used to living my life 100 miles an hour, anything with adrenaline. I did 28 years in the Air Force, 26 was overseas. Played volleyball, basketball, football, even in the Air Force. And so I was always active. I was stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. So my wife and my kids all stayed here. To keep myself busy, I ended up getting a dirt bike, and that day I just happened to be up in the mountains riding some trails with a friend of mine, and I started getting a headache and I was a little bit dizzy, and so I thought, oh, it's just the elevation, because it's the same elevation as Colorado, Denver, so it's really high up there. And luckily my friends knew me and knew that this was something different than just a regular headache, and so we decided to go to the emergency room. I collapsed there in the parking lot, and I woke up several days later. My wife was there, my dad was there, and my middle son, who was supposed to be in basic training, was there. And I was hooked up to all these tubes, and I didn't know what had happened. Yeah, the doctor said I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. It was the right vertebral artery. I was on a feeding tube. I couldn't speak properly. I couldn't walk. I was in the hospital for about 2 months, I think, over there. When I got back here, I continued with physical therapy and occupational therapy, speech therapy, all that, because I had to relearn how to do everything again. I thought it would be just like any other of my previous injuries, where I just, work hard at it and I recover and I'll be back to 100%. And I got close to walking without any assistance, but each time my spinal cord just kept unraveling. So I'm pretty much permanently in the chair. But it was probably about after 2 years of trying, I started to give up. I was in a real dark place. I was drinking heavily. I was, self-medicating. I was, abusing painkillers, and I didn't see any way out. The thing that saved my life was I had a recovery care coordinator that was part of the Air Force Wounded Warrior program. And so he kept saying, hey, they got a care event coming. I'd like you to come, go check it out. They had a whole range of sports, and we did everything. And they showed us adaptively how to do all the different sports, and found out that I could still do things, maybe not the same way I did when I was active duty, but adaptively. It changed everything. So they invited me to come and try out for the Air Force team to compete in the Warrior Games, which is like a national event for members of the different services that we have: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, that have wounded, ill, or injured servicemen and women. We come together and we compete in adaptive sports. I went to the Warrior Games. I think I competed in 15 events, and I ended up getting 13 medals. I think it was 8 gold, 5 silver. And I just seen all these different injuries and seeing what people push through. That's what kind of turned my life around at that point. So I was trying to make the team for the next Warrior Games. One of the sports I participate in is wheelchair basketball. So I came to the Kroc Center, I got a tour, and I was like, wow, they got weight room in here, and they had swimming pool, and then they had the gym, and I was like, yeah, let me sign up. And so I was in the gym. I was constantly practicing basketball, and Lonnie, one of the members here, kept inviting me to come over and play pickleball, because they're always on the other side of that net. And that's when I met Brian. It was Brian who really showed me how to play pickleball, and he taught that to me in like a day. I was hooked from then on. So it's just fun. I like the camaraderie too of the crew that we have back there. Everybody is so friendly. It gives me something to look forward to. I look forward to every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday coming out down and playing pickleball with and talking story with a great bunch of friends. And it gives me something to look forward to every week. Looking back at it, I thought it was over. Everything just came to a complete stop, from going 100 miles an hour to like 0. The biggest fear for me was I thought I was just going to be a burden on everyone, my family, my wife. Once I was introduced to adaptive sports, the Warrior Games, the Kroc Center, it just brought a whole bunch of joy back into my life. It just keeps me going. There's always a chance. If I'm breathing and my eyes are open, there's always a chance. Recovery and survival. Yeah, give it everything I got.